JP, tell us about your New Orleans Saints and their offseason.
All right, well, I'll start with coaching changes. We finished 6-11 last year. Spencer Rattler was 1-7, and then Tyler Shuck was 5-4. But our worst problem was not quarterback or offense or defense. It was special teams. And so we're going to have to fire or change the personnel, one of the two, or both. I'm fine with both. Kicking was awful this year with Blake Grupe. He missed 8 kicks in 11 games that he started for the New Orleans Saints. He then goes to the Indianapolis Colts, did not miss a field goal the rest of the year, but did not win a game the rest of the year. So suck on that, Blake Grupe. Charlie Smythe ended up replacing Blake Grupe at around the second half of the year. Smythe was 12 for 16. His 4 misses were all 40+. For reference, like Brandon Aubrey, best kicker in the National Football League, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. He missed 6 field goals, were all 50+ this year. That was the only field goals he missed. So it's not – the kickers are getting really good kicking from deep, but they're not going to be perfectly accurate, so you do have to kind of take that into perspective when you think about kicking. It's the big ones is like not missing 30-yarders and 40-yarders. Punting was really bad too. Kai Kroger had the 4th worst yards per punt this season. He had the 29th longest punt of the year out of punters. Like if you took a punter and their longest punt and just ranked it, and then you did the next punter, he had the 29th longest punt of punters. So he probably had like the 120th longest punt this year. That was his best punt of the year. The team also led the league in punts blocked this year with 3. So either fire our head coach, not our head coach, Kellamore, please stay, but special teams coordinator, Coach Phil, which I'm not going to pronounce his last name because I'll butcher it, or change the kicker and punter again going into next year. Those are 2, that's coaching change that really needs to be made. Brandon Staley was excellent as defensive coordinator, and Kellamore, I thought, had a really good second half of the year as the head coach. In terms of who to draft, Saints will have the 8th overall pick. We're also going to have a 2nd rounder as well as a 3rd rounder and 2 4th rounders. You're supposed to get a comp pick. No 3rd rounder. 1st, 2nd, 2 4ths. It feels like you can go best available with the amount of offensive players that are available in this year's draft. I'm speaking specifically of like the 2nd round and then even into the 4th rounds. What's kind of a non-negotiable is drafting at least 2 skill position guys in this draft for Tyler Shuck, because you think about the skill position guys he was trying to throw to in a must-win. It would have been for the division had we won one more game. I'm talking to you, Spencer Rattler, and he was throwing to Mason Tipton and Dante Pettis and I can't even or Kevin Austin Jr. Those are his receivers because Olave was out. Shaheed was traded. And there are a lot of weapons that are like skill position guys that are right there at the top in terms of Jeremiah Love, Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson, but also in the 2nd round are Elijah Surratt, who Sanders mentioned earlier, or Chris Bell from Louisville. All of those I'm completely fine with. Is there someone you guys would like to see New Orleans pick at 8?
It sounds like you need to pick a kicker at 8 to really fix those woes. But no, I think it's offensive guys, and you're in a decent spot to – no guarantees, obviously, but there's a chance you get to take the first skill position guy off the board at 8. And so you just kind of get your pick, which is a pretty sick spot to be. That's where I would go, unless I guess for some reason crazy things happen and like there's already been a run and there's not one there, and then you pivot to maybe which if there's a run on those guys, it means one of the defensive top tier guys have fallen to you. So
like a Caleb Downs or Reuben Bain.
But I think it's most likely that you're just there to take Carnell Tate or Jordan Tyson, one of those 2 guys at 8.
Draft
Jeremiah Love.
Carnell Tate or draft Jeremiah Love. I'm okay. I would love
Jeremiah
either of those
Love
2.
Instead of kind of stepping in to take the Alvin Kamara role.
You know who our leading rusher was this year?
Devin Neal.
Alvin Kamara.
Okay, still
Really?
with Alvin
You know how many
Kamara.
rushing yards Alvin Kamara had?
211.
He had 411.
Wow.
We had
That's crazy.
4 or 5 other guys with like 200 yards. Tyler Shuck had almost 200 yards himself. Devin Neal, 7th round pick out of Kansas, had 201 or give or take. So running back was definitely an issue, and that would, like Jeremiah Love, I'd love, or Carnell Tate. I'm great with either of those picks personally in the first round at pick 8. Obviously, no offensive line, please.
That's crazy. You want your quarterback getting hit all the time.
He's already got a
It's
perennial
covered.
left tackle in Kelvin Banks, who in a lot of
You were mad about taking.
well, yes, who wouldn't be when Shador Sanders was on the board. In redrafts, Kelvin Banks is gone like pick 1, 2, and 3 by a lot of experts in the NFL field. So
Well, who would you rather have right
hate
now?
that.
Shador Sanders and no Kelvin Banks, or Kelvin Banks and Tyler Shuck?
Kelvin Banks and Tyler Shuck.
All right.
And
It worked out.
hindsight is 2020. The Saints
It
are
wasn't even hindsight. That was a good pick on draft night.
There was some debate.
okay. Foresight is 2020. I think is more so what I'm getting at in terms of I've now seen Kelvin Banks and Tyler
Sure.
Shuck, and I've seen Shador. So Saints are $20 million in the negative in terms of cap, but you got Cameron Jordan, DeMario Davis, who could both retire, but they both had good years, which means you both could re-sign them, which will help because they're right now in void years. This will be the final year of the Saints cap BS that is prolonged for a decade now. Next year we're gonna have roughly like $80 million in cap room right now, so maybe $60 to $40 million we're looking at next year. So restructuring Cameron Jordan, DeMario Davis if they want to return, or they can retire, and we're back into chilling cap. I think you got to hope to try to restructure one of those two, if not both. But Julian Blackmon was already re-signed to an extension. He came over from Indianapolis as a free agent when the Honey Badger retired at the beginning of the year, and then he played 3 games and got hurt and did not play the rest of the year. Taysom Hill is likely to retire, which will help our cap a ton. Our biggest free agent is Alontae Taylor, a slot corner who's had a hit or miss, hot and cold, ups and downs. All of those analogies are great ways to describe his play. Over the last 4 years with New Orleans, he's had some of the games that I've watched him play. It was like, yeah, that guy could cover anybody. And then there are other games where he commits a pass interference in the fourth quarter and gives them a free first down 40 yards down the field and ends up losing us the game. So it will be unlikely he returns, and he's expected a high number in free agency. Personally, I hope he signs with Kansas City because that'll hinder Kansas City. In terms of free agency wants and needs, depth pieces is really all you can do with the cap space. Like New Orleans doesn't have the cap space that the Chargers and Washington have, so that's not really a consideration to really even think about. So depth pieces, kicker and punter are 2 things to definitely look at if you're not going to draft one of those 2.
You could just take the me and Jack approach in college football, where we just never recruit kicker and punter, and they just give you like the kid off the street.
I always recruit one. I've never done that.
I mean, we literally have we just
We don't always.
You can also go to the portal and
Yeah.
get a guy very easily.
Yeah, I'm just saying that if you don't recruit them, they literally will just give you one.
But
they just put one on your
it's
roster.
like a 50 overall.
No, he's not good. But when you don't punt, it doesn't matter.
When you don't punt, that's fair.
You got a punt in the National Football League.
That is true. Not in Madden.
I will say you do randomly just find that guy off the street in the NFL that ends up just being
a better kicker or punter.
very good.
Yeah.
So
Brandon Aubrey came from the UFL.
would you
so-
welcome a hot rod in New Orleans?
Yeah, we would welcome Rodrigo.
Okay, cool.
He's going to be kicking in the UFL this year, so maybe he puts together a good campaign and gets a job like Brandon Aubrey did.
Sure.
The early realistic goal of next year, and I laugh when I say this because this has already been a hot topic on this show and this show's history. We're winning the division next year.
Yeah, I think it's fair.
And I don't think that's unrealistic anymore for much of the public to think that. We're going to be the 4th odds-on favorite. I'll go ahead and guarantee that, and I'll be putting money on it. I'll go ahead and guarantee that as well. But we were 2 games away from winning the division this year, and we started Spencer Rattler for 8 games, and he was 1-7. The defense was excellent down the stretch. They were a top 10 defense the last month and a half of the year. Shuck helped Olave make an all-pro team. Every key piece is going to return, obviously our young guys, and then even defensively as well. I would assume another instant impact out of our top 10 pick. I'd hope at least, whether it's Carnell Tate or Jeremiah Love or one of the defenders. last year, like Kelvin Banks was elite. Now he can, get a playmaker for Tyler Shuck. He's got a left tackle and a playmaker to go along with Olave. And then you look at the division. The Falcons have a new head coach in Stefanski and no quarterback. And they're the Falcons. The Panthers are playing a first-place schedule, and they're the Panthers, meaning they're not good anyway. They won the division with 8 wins. The Bucs lost 8 of their last 9 games, and they're not getting any younger. You have Mike Evans, who's in free agency. In New Orleans, you have a 4th-place schedule. You have a good quarterback. You have a good head coach calling plays. Brandon Staley had a good defense the last month and a half of the season. Win the division, 4th to 1st. I don't think it's unmanageable. And you look at our schedule next year, 8 wins won the division this year. We're going to play Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Las Vegas, and Arizona. That's 4 wins already. Tyler Shuck doesn't lose to the Carolina Panthers. That's 6 wins. He splits the season series with Atlanta and Tampa Bay. That's 8 wins. We've already won the division. So
I like the logic.
It's very realistic. I will be betting on it as early as I can. And wow, Derpy is breaking news live on air. That was 5 minutes ago, but we'll get to that here in a second. I think early realistic goal is to win the division. I will be picking them, obviously. If y'all had to pick right now, who are you guys picking to win the NFC South next year? And you don't have to pick the Saints to appease me.
Right now,
Yeah.
probably the Saints, but I wouldn't be surprised if after the offseason it's the Bucs again.
I'm probably picking Tampa Bay.
I just need to know what they're going to do.
I think it's a good goal for the Saints, but realistically,
attainable.
and I think you would agree with this, the Saints are still like a year away from like true contention.
I disagree.
Like you're telling me you not only your goal is to win the division, but like be a legit player in the playoffs.
Why can't we?
Because the team, you say it improved a ton down the stretch, and it did, but there's not tons of additions to be made yet. You have no cap space.
New England won 4 games last year.
You still are pretty old.
Chicago won 5 games last year.
And they made
Divisional, NFC Championship, Super Bowl aspirations.
They made big-time moves that you can't make.
We can in the top 10 picks.
One guy.
Yeah.
Will Campbell didn't make a huge difference.
I disagree.
He's been pretty bad in the playoffs, at least so far this year. And Drake
those
is
short
the
arms,
most sacked
man.
quarterback
Those
this
short
year.
arms,
So
man. Well, that's because he likes to. What did he say again? What was his quote?
go for the. You know me, I like to go for the shot or something.
Yeah, he likes to go for the shot, and he takes a lot of shots by going for the shot.
I think it's very potentially attainable, but that's already kind of been shown over the last few years. Joe Burrow in year 2 after a terrible season was in the Super Bowl.
JP's the kind of fan who sees what Carson Knight did at Indiana and says, "Well, if he did it, we should all do it."
No, I'm just giving. I just gave 3 NFL examples right there of teams that won playoff games and are Super Bowl aspirations. New England still could win the Super Bowl, and that's just 3 teams. You know, rookie Jaden Daniels was in the NFC Championship. It is
An example
it's
of how it
completely
can flip the other way on you.
It's very possible for franchises that aren't dealing with just hard wreck year after year. Like I'm not gonna say that about the Raiders next year, more than likely, with Fernando Mendoza, a new head coach. No one's gonna say that about the Jets, or the Arizona Cardinals, or Tennessee, or Cleveland. But of these other teams, if you get the guy, like I don't think there's any reason to not say that they can't be in some kind of contention next year. Personally. Like a hot pick next year, I'll go ahead and guarantee it, is the New York Giants as a team that can win that division and be competitive in the postseason because now they got the head coach and the quarterback. Got the quarterback.
Yeah, great quarterback.
I don't think it's completely out of the realm of possibility because we've just seen it.
I mean, it's not
over
out of the
the
realm
past
of
5
possibility.
years.
I just don't think it's very likely,
Okay.
which we'll have to agree to disagree. Winning the division, sure, be a player. We also saw that winning the division this year did not lead to any team being a real player in the playoffs. I mean, we all kind of memed about the Panthers making the playoffs, and they put up a fight, so maybe they were a player. But that's just kind of where I'm at.
They were a play away, a Puka Nacua breakup away from winning
Yeah.
that game. In terms of this season, MVP of the team this year was Chris Olave. He had 100 catches for 1,163 yards and 9 touchdowns. He was second team All-Pro. An incredible turnaround to go from he considered retirement coming into this year to an all-pro receiver, and he can't wait to get back with Tyler Shuck this offseason, almost going as far as to say, I can't wait to get to work with Tyler Shuck this summer, hinting at the fact that he did not work with his prior quarterbacks in the offseason, which is kind of sucky to see, but it's also great that he's at least going to do that this year. And then I got, for players that played really well and no one knows their name, my top player is someone you know his name, but you only know his name because he's got a name, and that is Kool-Aid McKinstry. You only know his name because he's got a sick name.
Yeah.
This year he was tied 6th in the NFL in pass deflections. He had 3 picks, which is third for corner. He was third for corners and solo tackles with 59, and he was a top 30 corner per PFF. So he had a really incredible year, and he was our best corner on the outside. Hope he continues to develop. Though he's not the AV winner per per reference. Would you guys like to guess who the AV winner was for this year? And I'll go ahead and hint at the fact that the winner of it would fit this category of played really well and no one knows their name. Because no one knows their name.
No idea then.
Yeah, just toss it out there.
Pete Werner. Do you know his name?
No.
No.
Okay, well, he's our outside linebacker, and he won AV this year.
Shout out Pete Werner.
Go look at his stats. I don't know how that got into the calculation. He was 6th on the team in tackles. He was like 7th on the team in sacks. He was 6th on the team in pass deflections. The only stat he led the team in was fumble recoveries with 3.
Hey,
but he didn't return
right
any
place
of
at
them
the right
for a
time.
touchdown.
Maybe it weighs fumble recoveries really heavily.
They need to get that out of their
Tweak
calculations.
it a little bit, sure.
Because I don't know how he won AV this year. Although he did get to play in all 16 games, which he hadn't done so far in his career.
17. Did he play
17 games.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
You good.
Yeah, he somehow won our AV, which is going to be insane to look back on a decade from now, 2 decades from now.
Or you look back.
Pete Werner had a great year.
How old
that
is
year.
he? Young.
Yeah, he's like 26.
Yeah, so maybe in 10 years, look back. Pete Werner's breakout season.
He's a fine player.
Maybe
but
not.
I don't
He might be better.
know if he was our best player this year.
Best, maybe a stretch.
He might be y'all's Bobby Wagner going forward.
Shout out Pete
I'll
Werner.
take it.